This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is Not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane. This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the Queen of the Galaxy, Rylee Rockett.
Hello.
How are you, Rylee?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Could you tell us what you got coming up next?
Yes, I have a show in North Carolina this Saturday. It is called American Lucha Wrestling, and I'm currently the American Lucha Wrestling Women's Champion. Next weekend, I will be at WrestleCade all 3 days, and the very last day, I will be competing in the Ladies Night Out 12. That's put on by Title Match Network, and I will be competing for the Imperial Pro Wrestling Women's Championship.
That's pretty impressive. It's a big thing to get on Title Match.
Yeah.
And what can we find you on social media and merchandise?
I am on social media. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and it's all Rylee Rockett, Ryelee, and Rocket with 2 T's. And for merchandise, I will be posting a website within the next few days with all of my new t-shirt designs. And for exclusive merch, you guys can check those out at my merch table if you come and watch me at shows.
All right. And you don't need to look for those links. All of those links will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. All right. Let's get into it. You are, like you said, you are currently Rylee Dreebelts. You are the JPW champion, the 127 Pro Wrestling champion, and the ALW champion. What does it mean to you to hold all those titles at the same time? And kind of like, what's your headspace being the face of multiple companies?
It's a lot of responsibility, and I'm very thankful that I have the opportunities to be able to represent multiple companies all at once. My headspace, I just try to stay very humble and very grounded, and I'm just there to wrestle. I'm there to have fun and do my own thing and to wrestle because I love wrestling more than anything. So I'm very, very thankful that all of these promotions have given me the opportunity to be able to represent them.
All right. Can you tell us about competing on NWA Power? And was there any adjusting to studio wrestling rather than arena wrestling?
There really wasn't, when I was going into NWA, there really wasn't anything I needed to adjust to because I was on Impact for about 10 months. And so I was used to like being in front of a camera, knowing where certain camera angles were, knowing where to sell. Every show that I've ever been to has had like a huge production crew, so I'm really blessed in knowing the fact that I'm being watched, and there's different hard cams all over the place, you know. Right. So I had to adjust a little bit, but with NWA, everybody there just makes everything so easy, so I don't have to worry as much when I'm there.
Okay. And was you able to, because obviously, you know, NWA, one of the longest tenured wrestling promotions in the world, was you kind of able to take in that moment being there?
I was more excited than anything. Of course, I was nervous. I actually debuted on my 20th birthday this past March, so that was a pretty unexpected birthday present. And every taping that they've had, I've been at since then. I was nervous at first because I'm wrestling the girls that I grew up watching, like Angelina Love and Chelsea Green, and of course I got to wrestle Natalia Markova. So being able to wrestle all these different girls that I grew up with or that are more experienced than me, it just made me feel really special. But I felt like I was holding myself up to a certain standard when I got there. I didn't think I was good enough to be able to wrestle with the girls that I've either grown up watching or that I studied to try to be the best wrestler that I can. So when I got there, I was so nervous, but I actually got to sit down and talk to the Phenom Jazz, and she talked me down, and everything was just great after that.
That's awesome. I mean, obviously, Jazz is a legend in her own right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now you were making history. You were part of the first ever all-female match at the House of Morton.
Mm-hmm.
What did that mean to you to be, the first?
To be the first female match at the School of Morton, to be the first female match anywhere is a huge deal. I feel that women are taking over the wrestling business. I don't think fully yet. We're not to that point yet, but definitely women are taking a stand, and we are out there. We're putting ourselves out there to make everybody believe and to point out that we're just as capable as the guys. And to be able to be the first ever School of Morton women's match, that was the most incredible moment of my entire life. And while I was there too, I was also the very first ever School of Morton women's champion, which was also another huge thing for me. I felt very, very, very honored. And just recently, I was actually the first ever women's main event match at the Joe Kazana Promotions show. That was October? Yeah, that was in October. That was a few days before Halloween.
Yes. And I believe there's a plaque in the school, correct?
Yes.
That's incredible because, it's fantastic to be the first, but it's also why isn't there more? You know what I mean?
Right. And it's always good if more women come along and they do go to that school. They'll see the girls that started it all,
Right. Right. Can you tell us about being a swingerella?
Oh my goodness. Being a swingerella was so much fun. I had such the honor. I got to work with amazing people. Johnny Swinger is one of the sweetest people you will ever meet. I actually got flown out to Vegas to be able to film Wrestle House too. And that's a huge deal for anybody that's on Wrestle House. That's a huge deal in the whole Impact Wrestling because not everybody gets to be on Wrestle House. So if you get to be on Wrestle House, that's like a huge deal.
Right. Now, was it a soup Thanksgiving dinner or a welcome Thanksgiving dinner?
It was a bit of both. I mean, we all got to eat the food after, so.
Okay, so it was soup dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, and how did your cat surgery go?
It was good.
I know that very recently the Swingerellas made a return to Impact Wrestling. What was that?
Yes.
What was that return like?
That was really special because we actually got to get in the ring and wrestle, and I got to wrestle Jessica and Taya Valkyrie, which was absolutely huge. I felt really honored to be able to be there. It felt like I was home again, you know?
You kind of consider Impact Wrestling more home than NWA?
I feel the same for both. NWA is more of my home now, but because I was at Impact for so long, that will always have a place in my heart that is equivalent to home.
Okay. And I mean, what is that like? I mean, obviously, Taya Valkyrie, one of the best out there today, and Jessica, was it Jessica or Jessica Havoc?
Jessica.
Jessica. Okay, so I mean, two obviously big names on the independents and on TV currently. What was that experience like?
It was honestly very surreal to me. I love Taya Valkyrie. I actually studied her when I first started training, and Jessica is one of the sweetest people in the entire world. She's hilarious too. She's really funny. Taya is she's very, very, very sweet, and she's very quiet, which is a good thing, I think. It's good to be quiet and good to be humble when you're in this business. But I'm very thankful for the opportunity that I had being able to wrestle both of them.
Well, Ray, recently you had a triple threat match on NWA against Kenzie Page and Ella Envy. And the winner ran pretty empowered. What was that? How do you feel about that match?
I honestly was okay with that match because that was my initiation into joining Pretty Empowered.
And I mean, you almost became the leader of Pretty Empowered.
I'm not on that caliber yet.
Alright, can you tell us about your love of true crime?
Yes, I am actually going to school to become a forensic psychologist. And for those of you who don't know what that is, I study criminal brains, and serial killers is like the main topic of the whole, I'm going to say organization, but that's not the word. The whole subject, I guess, is what you can say for forensic psychology. And it's absolutely amazing. I have had such a heart for trying to bring to light situations, and most of the times serial killers and all that kind of stuff, they have such dark situations, and I want to be able to try to bring the light out of those situations. And I'm not saying that every serial killer is a good person, because none of them are, but I'm trying to bring the light out of the good situation and show people that it doesn't matter who it is, anybody could be a serial killer with just, honestly, anybody could be a serial killer.
Do you have a Ripperology theory?
I don't. I really haven't thought about it, honestly. I've been more focused in like the whole Jeffrey Dahmer case. I just watched the Dahmer series on Netflix, and it's crazy because that whole show, I knew almost everything before I even watched the show, and I know some people are very against it, but I watched it for educational purposes, and I know that most people watch it just for entertainment, which is kind of, if you're watching it just to watch it, or if you're watching it without knowing previous facts about Jeffrey Dahmer, it's terrifying. It really, truly is.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's not terrifying knowing what I already knew. It was really scary, but I don't know. I've been more focused on that and certain true crime cases that are coming back up, and like I've been watching a lot of cold case files, and I've just been studying everything else.
And we are being joined by Scooter Dust as well.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you, Rylee.
Hello.
Oh, but I always say, if you want the facts, you watch the documentary. If you want to be entertained, you watch the series or the movie. No?
Yeah, but also with every documentary, they still try to make it more movie-esque. So there are certain things in the documentary that are not true, or that are true but not 100% true. And that's kind of what sucks about certain documentaries. You'll definitely have to do your research either before or after you watch a documentary.
I think she's learned to the rule of the pen. Whoever does the writing controls the narrative, essentially.
Yes.
Alright. Scooter, you have a question.
All right. I'm so glad I dropped in on this riveting serial killer talk. I'm not scared at all. I'm kidding. Okay. Can you tell us about your ideas for the Goofy movie musical?
Oh, yes. I can't share all of the details because it's very private. I'm not finished writing it yet, but I will hopefully be done by the end of the month, which is in a few weeks. Yes, so I'm super excited. And then we will be sending everything. We have the music written and everything. We just have to send it to a composer who will be able to create sheet music from it. And then from that, we will be able to email it to Disney or personally mail it to Disney to try to get that verified and get the rights for it. Then once that is done, we will be sending everything to, of course, Disney will have the rights, but from there is when they might actually send it to Broadway. But I think after we get it approved, we have to actually perform the musical and then send it in. And if there's anything that we need to fix or anything we should add, then Disney will let us know and we will do that. Because ultimately, when we're done writing it, it's Disney's. Right. So we have not as much freedom as we do while we're writing it. But yeah, I'm super excited about it, and I can't wait for people to hear it. There's going to be some characters that have songs that didn't have songs in the movies that I feel personally need the songs. There's going to be very, very heartfelt moments and a lot of tears shed in this.
As both a Disney fan and as a former off-Broadway performer, I can't wait. I have to ask, is On the Open Road already part of it?
Yes. Yes.
Money and math, relax and like the old days. Exactly.
Yes, and we already have an idea of who we want to cast as Powerline.
Oh
and
my God.
That's really exciting. We have an idea of who we want.
Yeah.
But we're not 100% sure if he'll do it.
I don't think Kevin Campbell's doing anything these days. In fact, I think I may have just made a very terrible joke in that, and I apologize to anybody who hears that and thinks I'm... Okay, alright, Powerline eye to eye. Mm-hmm. So, am I to assume, based on that, you've had some history in theater and even possibly dealt with equity?
Yeah, I definitely do have a background in theater. I started acting when I was about 6 years old. Well, I was acting before that, and I landed an audition for the Powerpuff Girls cereal. I got the audition, but then we were actually in the middle of moving states. So I couldn't pick up that audition, which really bummed me out. But I did Young People's Theater in Ionia, Michigan when I was 6 years old is when I started. And that's ages, I think, 6. So it's anywhere from kindergarten up to 8th grade. But I did that, and then I did the community theater. So I was in certain older kid plays is what I call it. I was in Fiddler on the Roof and Music Man and Shrek the Musical. I've done Aladdin, The Little Mermaid. Oh my goodness, what else have I done? I've done quite a bit. And then when I moved down to Tennessee, when I was in high school, I did the drama club there. Plus I did competitive drama. So I got to travel around the state and compete against fellow drama nerds who were like some of the best in the state.
I want to elaborate on competitive drama just a little bit. Of course, I just need to mention this. Growing up also, theater, my big thing, as everybody knows who's ever listened to this show, is the 3.5 years I spent doing the Rocky Horror Picture Show. But in high school, I had the lead both years in You Can't Take It With You and Stand and Deliver.
Oh, those are both really good.
Which is very interesting considering the title, no, the main role in Stand and Deliver. But can you go into what competitive drama entails?
Yes, so there's a bunch of different categories, and depending on the category is what you perform. There's some categories where there's called duo acting, and that's where you can have a partner that does a piece with you, except you guys can't make complete eye contact. You can't touch each other. You can't look straight at each other. You can like cheat out if you want or pretend to hug them, but you have to be a certain amount of feet away. You can't look at them at all. And that was the last piece that I did, and I never actually got to really perform that because COVID happened. So my senior year of high school, I didn't get to finish that and take it to state like I was supposed to. But that piece was actually written by my partner and we told the love story between Ted Bundy and his girlfriend Liz. So it was very intense, and we all got to, with that category, if we couldn't find a piece that was already published, we could take stuff from an already published article or a book or something that's already published that's out there, and we could just create a piece from it. So I took pieces from Liz's book that she wrote, but I also did research, and I actually found the letters that Ted Bundy wrote to her. That I actually found them, and I created different parts of that piece from those letters as well. Oh
Man, I'm sorry if I'm lobbing question after question, but
okay.
This brings up the I believe it was the Ed Gein musical that Trey Parker and Matt Stone did.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one though. Ed Gein is like, I don't know about that.
But it just it just reminded me of that, of how even the the darkest material can provide the basis for something really beautiful. And I know that's gonna sound a little bit wrong to some people, but
right, I'll have to check that one out. But yeah, I get what you're saying. And that's kind of the reason why I'm going into forensic psychology, is because I want to bring that beauty and that light out of those dark situations. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that serial killers, or especially Ted Bundy, I'm not saying that they were good people at all.
No.
But what I'm saying is that certain things that they did in their life was beautiful or was good, and kind of like the whole, like, he really truly loved his girlfriend Elizabeth. He loved her so much. That's why he didn't kill her. That's why he didn't kill her daughter. Like, And people don't understand that. People only see the bad parts of those types of people or those situations.
All right, absolutely love it.
You have any follow-ups, Scooter?
Yeah. I think unless something else comes to me revolving around performing, I think you can ask your next question, James.
Fair enough. Alright, it seems like you were really involved in theater and writing and, obviously the theatrical side of everything. Did you ever consider doing that or going back to that now that, you're in pro wrestling?
Now that I'm in wrestling, it pretty much is acting. That's one of the reasons why I got into it, because it's acting, but also like working out at the same time. But it's actually like, that's what I thought it was going into it. And then now that I'm in it, I'm like, oh my gosh, we are actually beating the crap out of each other. I love this, But my first major I wanted when I started college, I wanted to go to school for theater. But then I realized that if I wanted to go and get a job, like if something happened with wrestling or after I retired or something, it's harder to get a job with a theater degree than it is to get it in like if you have just like any basic, like a business degree or a communications degree, or in my case, forensic psychology. With the forensic psychology degree, I could potentially work for the FBI, and I think that's pretty cool.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, you mentioned, all of the Disney-inspired plays you were part of. Could you tell us about your love of, and obviously you're doing the Goofy movie musical. Tell us about your love of Disney.
I have always loved Disney since I was in my mom's womb. That's what she told me. My nursery was actually Winnie the Pooh, and that's how I got my nickname. My parents call me Rylee Roo. That's just like my nickname. It's from like Roo from Winnie the Pooh, Kanga and Roo. I started watching Disney pretty much as soon as I got out of the womb. Like, I grew up watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and Snow White's my favorite princess, and I loved Cinderella and Finding Nemo, and then Disney started popping out with a bunch of these different movies, and I remember having, like, an old VHS player that was connected to a TV, so I remember having, like, the Lion King VHS and, a bunch of different VHS tapes, which now those are, like, Gen Z is like, oh my gosh, what is that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel old, I'm only 20, but I know what VHS tapes are, But I don't know, I think Disney it makes me feel like a kid again. And it's good for me, it's good for everybody to have that youthful side to them. I wanted to grow up to be a Disney princess, and I wanted to do the Disney college program, but I realized if I actually got accepted for it too, but I couldn't do it because then that means I would have to give up wrestling for a few months to be able to go down to Disney, which, I mean, I would be okay with that, but at the same time, I wouldn't be okay with that because, wrestling is my life. But I love Disney is just like my comfort thing. It's something that everybody in my family has always been able to bond over and fall in love with. And whenever my mom and I are like super depressed or having a really bad day, we'll just go on YouTube and watch Disney videos or videos of vloggers down at Disney World, because I've been at Disney World like 4 times within the past year.
Oh God, I'm gonna hijack this again. My sister and I, huge Disney nuts. She actually lived in Kissimmee for quite a bit, just to be closer to Disney World.
It's a good idea.
I was going to also move down there and do the college program. Mitigating circumstances unfortunately changed everything, but I've also been to Disney World quite a number of times. I haven't been in about 12, 13 years.
Goodness.
I always picked the perfect time to go the second week of the year, right after New Year's. It was nice and perfect. But, oh man, it just, something about Disney World it just warms your heart.
Absolutely.
But now even though it's got mostly everything I love in one place, Star Wars and Marvel, I'm almost wondering if I'd have to be, excited and overwhelmed at the same point, given how much older I am now.
Right. See, the first time I went to Disney was in 2018, and that was really cool. We went the second or third week in March, and then I started wrestling in 2019, and then occasionally, sometimes I go down to Florida and I go and wrestle down there, and then with that, I get a free day pass to Disney. So that's how I've gone within the past year. I actually took a vacation down there the beginning of September, and we got to bring my best friend with me, which was really fun, and being able to watch her experience Disney World for the first time meant so much to me. But yeah, we did get to do all of the Star Wars stuff. I got to pilot the Millennium Falcon, and I got to ride the Rise of the Resistance ride, so I got to see Kylo Ren and all the Stormtroopers. The Marvel section is not as big as it is in Universal, believe it or not. We also got to go to Universal for 2 days. There's a whole superhero section on Islands of Adventure, which was really cool. I got to meet Captain America, who is my favorite superhero. He always has been and he always will be. I'm going to marry Chris Evans one day. Yeah, not even kidding. He just doesn't know it yet. But yeah, Disney is definitely an amazing experience. The prices are a bit much.
Yes, they used to not be, and the food plan was something I would always get because the restaurants, a lot of the sit-down restaurants in Epcot were really good, especially the one in Canada, Le Cellier, and the one in France section, and then of course drinking around the world, which I've never traditionally done, but
yeah, that's actually what I'm doing for my 21st birthday. Yeah, I'm taking a bunch of friends with me. We're all gonna go, and I'm gonna start at Mexico and drink all the way to Canada.
Yes.
So I'm gonna be hammered halfway through, probably by the time I get to Japan. But that's okay. It's worth it. So
yes.
I actually lived in Anaheim for a couple of years, and literally in my backyard was Disneyland. And
that's so cool.
Every night was the firework spectacular. So you didn't even have to go outside. You just looked out the window and you saw all the fireworks every night.
Yeah.
That's Disneyland.
Beautiful.
That's Disneyland, though. It's not Disney World.
See, my goal, especially with wrestling, my goal is when I'm traveling the world, I want to visit every Disney park in the entire world. That's Japan, that's Hong Kong, that's Shanghai, that's Paris, that's Anaheim, that's Beijing, all the new ones that are being put. I want to go to every single one because they're all different and there's all sorts of different things there. And it's I want to experience everything because, of course, I have my favorite Disney movies, but I love all Disney too. So it's I want to be able to experience all of the Disney.
But given everything that's around, or rather within Disney and Universal combined, I'm curious to know I've got some questions around this. So you know what? I'm gonna save these questions for later. James, why don't you get us back on track before I open my fat mouth again?
Sure. Like you mentioned that you love Captain America and Chris Evans. How do you feel about Anthony Mackie taking over?
It's still taking me a while to accept it because that's not Captain America. That's Falcon. Because I grew up reading the Captain America comic books, I firmly believe that Bucky Barnes should be the next Captain America over Sam. But I know that Bucky didn't want it because he feels like he doesn't deserve it because he was, Hydra and all that.
Right.
Which, I mean, I get it. But I think Captain America will forever be Steve Rogers.
Yes. No.
Yes.
I get the whole Sam taking over, but, like Steve literally passing the shield instead of passing the torch, passing the shield. But Steve will forever be Captain America, point blank, period. That's...
And we also can't rule out that there won't be a potential return to the role by Chris Evans in some form.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You mentioned that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is your favorite Disney movie. Which is your favorite dwarf?
Gosh. I want to say Dopey, but everybody's favorite dwarf is Dopey. I like Bashful. I just think he's adorable. And, he's so innocent, I think he's so cute.
I'm a grumpy guy.
Okay.
I think I'm a sleepy guy.
And it's funny because my sister, who suffered from chronic allergies almost her entire life, is a sneezy person, and she found a cat that had would sneeze all the time and had the allergies herself, and called that Sneezy. And that was the cat I grew up with. But had the sweatshirt. I'm grumpy because you're dopey.
All right. Let's get to our next segment. Rylee Rockett's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Yes. I was on my way to a show in, I think, Jackson, Tennessee, which is about 6.5, almost 7 hours from my house. And on our way there, we tried to get off of an exit to go get gas or something, and we hit a really big pothole, and it actually blew a hole in one of our tires. So, and I was booked at 2 shows at the same venue. I was booked at the 4 o'clock show and the 7 o'clock show or 8 o'clock show. And we had to stop at Discount Tire, buy a tire, and it was it just took forever. And then I didn't make the first show, but I made the second show, and they still paid me what I would have, what I would have made for both shows. But that was absolutely bizarre. That was crazy. I felt so bad, but my mom was with me, and we were freaking out. We heard something pop, and we didn't know what it was. And I kid you not, we could not drive this vehicle. We had to get it towed from AAA to, Discount Tire. It was really bad. We put a spare on there, and oh my goodness. It was crazy.
Well, that's fantastic. The promoter still paid you for both shows.
I know. I was surprised, but, I mean, I was thankful for it.
Not every promoter would do that, for sure.
No, definitely not.
Alright. Scooter, you got a question.
Okay, now I think I'm going to get into that thing that I think was missing from the Disney Universal discussion, and that's, of course, Harry Potter. First, did you go to the Wizarding World when you went to Universal?
I did, of course. Of course. I bought myself a wand, too.
All right,
What'd you think of the
which house
butterbeer?
are you?
I'm Gryffindor.
Okay. Continue, Scooter.
I did. I did try butterbeer, and it was very, very good. Very good.
Frozen or iced?
I got frozen.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. I'm a Hufflepuff actually.
Okay.
Okay. Favorite book of the series?
My favorite book is The Deathly Hallows, but my favorite... No. That's not right. My favorite movie is The Deathly Hallows. My favorite book is Goblet of Fire.
Well, that you answered my next question without me having to ask it. Did you do the double feature when Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out by chance?
I did not. But of course we have HBO. We have HBO Max, so we've seen all the movies hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. We're trying to buy the whole collection, but we're trying to do it individually because it's cheaper to buy all of the movies individually than it is all together. So we have about 5 of the movies. So I mean that's pretty good because there's 8 movies, so we're only missing 3. But yeah.
I feel so old. I saw every one of them in the theaters.
Oh my goodness.
And I saw Deathly Hallows Part 1 twice as part of the double feature, but the only reason anybody did that was to secure a seat for Part 2 in the theater.
Right. At that time, I of course read all of the Harry Potter books when I was like in 3rd grade and then became obsessed. But I didn't watch the movies. My parents were when I was growing up, they had to watch a movie before I did, especially if it was PG-13, which I totally respect and I'm very thankful now that I'm older and I watch adult movies. I'm very much so, wow, I'm very thankful you didn't let me watch this when I was 12, you know. But yeah, my parents were they had to watch the movies before I watched the movies. And also it was a rule in our house, we had to read all of the books. If it was like a movie series, we had to read all of the books if they had books. We had to read all the books first and then we could watch the movies. Like I had to do that with all of the Hunger Games. I read all 3 of them and then I watched all 3 of the movies. Same with Divergent. I read Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant before I watched the movies. And so yeah, I really didn't get to watch that one because the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2 are very, very dark. And my parents were like, I don't know about that yet. So, but I did end up watching them when I got older.
I remember as Prisoner of Azkaban was being made, and there was people weren't sure if there was even going to be another book after Goblet of Fire.
Right.
And then in 2003, I remember going to get Order of the Phoenix. I remember going to get the Half-Blood Prince on the first day, and Deathly Hallows as well. In fact, I bought 2, so I wouldn't have to share with my then significant other at the time. But which character would you be?
Oh my gosh. Well, first off, I wish I wasn't a Gryffindor. I even tried to cheat on the test to get Slytherin, and every time I did that, I got Gryffindor. So,
So you're Slytherin at heart, but everybody tells you you're Gryffindor.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. I would probably, if I could be any character, I would probably want to be Ginny. She's very. Of course, because she has the Weasley name, everybody's like, oh, you know, I don't want to associate myself with you because you're a Weasley, your brothers are weird, you know. And she was the only girl, besides, of course, her mom, Molly. But Ginny, it took a while for her to come out of her shell, but once she did, everybody saw how much of a powerful character she was and how important to Harry's life she was. She wasn't the main three, but she was just as important to Harry Potter as a character as Ron and Hermione was.
A lot of people feel that J.K. Rowling was almost kind of, and I'm just mentioning her as an author here, whatever, that she almost felt so much pressure from the fans to where, Harry and Ginny ended up together. Who knows if that was the idea from the beginning?
I don't think, because I read somewhere, I think J.K. confirmed it somewhere, that wasn't supposed to be the actual plan. It was supposed to be Hermione and Harry.
That's what I always thought.
Yeah.
And
that's why in Deathly Hallows, spoiler alert if you guys haven't seen it, I'm sorry, but there's that one when the Horcrux gets stabbed and you see that puff of smoke that Ron sees and he sees Harry and Hermione like kissing or whatever. That was actually what was supposed to happen. But the fans loved the story between Ginny and Harry, and everybody wanted Ron and Hermione together because it made sense, but it didn't make sense at the same time. That's why they wanted Hermione and Ron together. So I think it worked out perfectly. And Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, that's a fantastic book as well. Highly recommend it.
Yeah. And of course, me being a lifelong New Yorker, and having spent so much time in the city, I still can't get tickets to it.
Oh my goodness. I'm actually going to London this summer for wrestling, and we get to stop at the London's West End, so like London's version of Broadway, and I'm gonna go see Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
Ooh.
I'm so excited.
And I'm so jealous. And my final Harry Potter question, at least until I randomly scream, wait, I have another one. What would your Patronus charm be?
Oh my goodness. I think, actually, hold on, let me pull it up. I have the app that tells me my Patronus.
And,
I think it was a rat. I think I have Scabbers. Yes, my rat is a Patronus. Or my Patronus is a rat. Yeah.
Very interesting. For anyone listening who's even interested, favorite movie is clearly my favorite movie is actually Goblet of Fire. Favorite book of the series is actually Order of the Phoenix. I would be Neville, because look at Neville now, he's friggin' jacked. My Patronus, oh God, what was it? My Patronus was, it was a gazelle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, I was hoping that I could actually pick my Patronus, but instead it gave me a quiz to determine what my Patronus was. I was really, really, really hoping it was a rabbit, because rabbits are my favorite animal, but I got Scabbers instead, which I was mad at first, but then I was like, okay, but Scabbers, like, helped Ron out a lot, So maybe it will help me out, even though it's a Patronus and not a physical, actual rat. I don't know.
James, what about you?
Well, favorite movie would be Order of the Phoenix. I'm sorry, didn't read the books. um, what character would I be? I'm not entirely sure about that. Kind of like Professor Snape. Oh, but if we're going super into the series, Fantastic Beast. What's the main character's name?
Newt.
Newt Scamander?
I would be Newt. There you go. I'd be Newt. And Patronus. Ooh. That's a good question. I would like to think maybe a fox or a wolf, but I don't have the app, so I'm not entirely sure. Well, yeah. Alright, have you got all your Harry Potter questions out of the way, Scooter?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Now, can you tell us about your love of the Montez Ford God is Good tweet? As of this recording, you retweeted it 38 times.
Yes. I try to retweet it every day.
And the reason being?
Well, I am a Christian. I've been born and raised in the church, and I'm very thankful for that. And I just feel like everybody needs a little Jesus here and there. So maybe by me retweeting what he posts, that might actually, it could make somebody's day. It could help somebody's day feel better. And it's just good fellowship without being in somebody's face saying, oh my goodness, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, I get that, and I absolutely respect that. I'm Catholic, so you're not going to get any complaints from me.
Okay.
Alright. Can you tell us about your love of Tomb Raider?
Oh my goodness, yes, that is my favorite video game. Tomb Raider and all of the Assassin's Creed. Like, I want to be Lara Croft so bad. So bad. I also love all of the Uncharted games. I like those types of games instead of I've played Call of Duty and all that kind of stuff, but I'm like, I don't like the shooting games. I would much rather do the whole Tomb Raider and Assassin's Creed where I can jump off of buildings and climb up mountains and, jump from a pirate ship and stab somebody in the back of the neck as Edward Kenway, from Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I just feel like those types of games are a lot more fun, and I'll actually sit down and play those instead of getting frustrated and throwing my controller at the TV if I miss a kill or something on Call of Duty.
Alright, favorite Tomb Raider game?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I don't remember the name of it. I have it right here, so let me look. I have a PlayStation. I prefer PlayStation over Xbox any day.
Yeah.
Any day. So I'm trying to find... it's called Rise of the Tomb Raider. It was the 20-year celebration. This one came out...
The second in the reboot series.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
and then
probably the best one, yeah.
There's a newer one, too, I believe, that I haven't played yet.
Oh, I've got it. It's the one that was available on PlayStation Plus.
Yes.
Something, it's not Legend of the Tomb Raider. There's something Tomb Raider in there.
It's something of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Right. Isn't it is it Legend of the Tomb Raider?
I'm trying to look
Is that
for
what
it
it
right
is?
now because I do have it.
Yeah, that's the one that
Shadow.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Yeah.
Okay, that's what it is.
The Tomb Raider Origins and the first two I thought were really good. This Shadow isn't bad, but it's not maybe as good as the other two.
Right. I beat Rise of the Tomb Raider. Well, it took me a month. I could have beaten it within like a week, but it took me a month because I didn't play it every day. But yeah, right now I'm playing an Uncharted game, but it's one with the girls.
Chloe.
Yes, with Chloe. I don't know what it's called off the top of my head, but that's the one that I'm playing right now, and I really like it.
Lost Legacies.
Yes, that's the one.
I have it downloaded. I haven't played it yet.
Highly recommend it. It's so much fun.
Okay, good. And what's your favorite Assassin's Creed?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. There's so many. I do like Black Flag, but I think I like any Assassin's Creed with Ezio.
Yes.
So like Assassin's Creed 3 and like I have the whole Ezio collection. Like he's my favorite. I haven't played Valhalla. I was told that Valhalla is really good.
No, I like the Ezio Chronicles as well because it's Italy, Italian Renaissance, and that's always been like one of my go-to. So 2 and 3 are definitely my favorite out of the series. Scooter?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they just released literally in the past 2 days a lot more Assassin's Creed games on PS Plus. Some that I never even knew existed. There's the Assassin's Creed Russia, which I think was a PSP game.
That's a really good one. It's a side scroll.
But just quickly, just jumping back to Tomb Raider, a little tidbit here. I'm not sure if you're familiar with a YouTube channel called Epic Rap Battles of History.
Yes.
Their most recent battle, and I've been involved with them in the past. I've done some writing for a couple of their battles, but their most recent battle is Lara Croft versus Indiana Jones.
Okay.
And they were they originally wanted a cameo from Nathan Drake in it.
Huh.
But they felt it would be overshadowing Lara Croft.
Right.
Alright. Scooter, you have a colossal question.
Yes, it's time for the colossal question. Alright. Hypothetical. Let's say that a hit studio, let's say Disney, why not, is making a movie about the wrestling career of Rylee Rockett. And it's going to be a blockbuster. And every blockbuster movie has to have a blockbuster soundtrack to go with it. So, what would be 3 to 5 songs on the soundtrack to the Rylee Rockett wrestling career movie?
The Space Mountain theme. My song right now is Eye of the Storm by Pop Evil. Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue.
Nice.
Let's see. Oh my goodness, that's a hard question because I've got so many songs that I was like, Let me see. Oh my gosh, this is such a hard question.
Well, you already have 3. You could lock
Right.
those 3 in, or we could go on to something else until you think of 2 more.
Let me think of 2 more really quick. I'm literally looking at my playlist right now because I have a specific playlist I listen to before I go to wrestle.
Okay.
So definitely, yeah, those 3. Probably Let's Get Rocked by Def Leppard.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God, that takes me back.
And any song by Nelly. Anyone. I love Nelly so much. He's my favorite artist right now.
Ooh.
So, any song by Nelly.
Alright, solid 5 picks. And you could have the Nelly fill in all the rest of the songs.
I mean,
Yeah, right?
I mean,
Do you
my
lock
favorite
it
is
in?
number.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you lock it in?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I just want to drop my favorite Nelly song in here. I don't know why I'm dropping everything today. Number 1. With Joe Perry. Only
Okay.
because of the awesome guitar solo in it. Okay. We've got a soundtrack. That's awesome. Okay. Good. That's the way Hollywood works, is everybody in the world knows. They always develop the soundtrack first. And now we're moving on to something that's not so important in Hollywood. Casting.
Okay.
Who would play Rylee Rockett in the Rylee Rockett wrestling career movie? And you cannot say yourself, because you are legally obliged to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Oh, okay, cool. Gosh. See, I don't know who I would have me play. Well, I know who I would want to play me because her and I are very similar, but I think she might be too old to play the part. I would want Zooey Deschanel.
Okay.
All right.
I love Zooey Deschanel so much. Either her or Amelia Clark.
Sweet.
Ooh.
Now that we cast Rylee, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people in your movie, and who would play them?
Oh my goodness. Well, of course, my trainer Ricky Morton would be a character. I don't know who I would want to play him. Maybe. That's tough. I'll probably have Ricky play himself because there's only one Ricky Morton, and there will forever be only one Ricky Morton.
And you know what? I will accept that answer.
And then one of my best wrestling friends, and we wrestle all the time, Kenzie Page. Probably Florence Pugh to be Kenzie.
She played Paige.
And then my third one.
She's playing another Paige.
Right, yeah. But, my third one? Would probably be my boyfriend. And he would be played by Tom Hiddleston because he looks like Tom Hiddleston. So he would love that, to be able to have Tom Hiddleston play his character.
All right. This sounds like a great movie. And Ricky Morton's making his actorial debut as well. Alright, let's get those tickets on pre-order right now. Alright, now on to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
If I can't taste it, I don't mind it. If the pineapple is melted so much into the cheese that I can't taste the full pineapple taste, then I'll eat it. But other than that, I'm just not a big pizza person anyways.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I can't eat dairy, so I really can't have
I see.
pizza or like cheeseburgers and all that kind of stuff. When I make homemade tacos at home, I have to eat it without the cheese. It's brutal.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could sympathize with that.
Alright, what's your spirit Pokemon?
My spirit Pokemon. Oh my gosh. Probably. That's so hard. I've got like 3. There's like Pikachu, Snivy, and Piplup. Or Snorlax. I like Snorlax.
Those are grateful Pokemon. I love all those.
They all represent me in one way or another, so.
Just have them all do the fusion technique and we're good to go.
For real.
Alright, with this question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, Scooter.
Not the country.
An actual Rock.
No. If it was a big rock, oh sorry, in the words of SpongeBob, it's not a boulder, it's a rock. If it was a big, like, big one, maybe. I would figure it out like SpongeBob did, but other than that, probably not.
Well, just for reference, there's this guy named Psycho Mike that wrestled an actual Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match, an Iron Man match that lasted for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm good.
And we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
I do not.
Scooter?
T is for terrible. H is for hell. U is for ugly. And G is for jail, 'cause a thug can't spell.
I love that.
Yeah, love Tracy trying to keep the memory alive here on Wrestling.
Yeah.
Alright, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I just see myself wrestling. I don't want to say, oh, I see myself in WWE because anything can happen. I might not be in WWE by the time 5 years comes along, or I might. You never know. So just wrestling in general.
Okay, fair enough. And what's a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what Rylee Rockett is all about?
Definitely my NWA match versus Natalia Markova, but also my very first match outside of School of Morton. It is on Title Match Network. It is against Ella Envy, and it was almost 3 years ago now, and it has almost 400,000 views.
Are those matches on YouTube?
Yep.
Okay, I will find those matches and I will put them in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox for anybody that hasn't seen them, wants to re-see them after this interview.
Okay.
Alright, and since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom. This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Ricky Steamboat.
Worst wrestler.
I'm not going to say that out loud because that's rude.
Scooter?
Now I kind of don't want to say it. Default is, I feel like...
You want me to say it?
Yes.
You have chosen Eva Marie.
Yeah.
Whew.
Your main event.
Yeah.
Huh? Your main event in WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Bianca Belair.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
China.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is
Alive.
We also would have accepted is quite good on toast.
squash. Fruit or vegetable?
Fruit.
That is correct. New Japan wrestler Taichi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Covering the butt cheeks.
Full coverage.
Yes.
Alright. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No.
And that is the correct answer. That will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with us, Rylee.
Thank you for having me.
And once again, where can we find you on social media and merchandise?
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Rylee Rockett. That's Ryle and Rocket with 2 T's.
And your merchandise?
My merchandise, my website will be being posted later on this week. If you want some exclusive deals, you can come get those at my merch table at the shows.
Alright. I will put all your social medias in the description of the video below. If this comes out after your website is already posted, then your website will be in the description of the video below as well. Simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You've been listening to her for a little over an hour. Buy a damn shirt. Alright, again, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. Of course, this was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for another incredible interview. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Wrestling with E. On Twitter, you find out who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and a whole lot more. You can follow me personally at JamesJ993. Where can we find Scooter?
As always, you can find me trying to get to Octane on WWE Supercard Season 9. Find me on Twitter at ScooterDust. Find me, James, and Ryan Dust hosting The Remix on YouTube, the premier audio companion experience for all your alternate commentary needs for WWE premium live events. The next time we come to you, January 28th, the Royal Rumble, first event of 2023. And of course, revel in all my Twitch antics live and next day on YouTube as I continue to embark on my first ever Dungeons & Dragons campaign along with Rico Constantino Jr. and the rest of the Smoking Dragons clan, twitch.tv/Smoking Dragons.
Now, Rylee, when I say wrestling with, you say entertainment, okay?
Okay.
For always special guest Rylee Rockett, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.